Glory and praise to the supreme power of all that is in existence, the Elohim of our forefathers, the Elohim of Yaakov. And secondly, we will all give all due respect to everyone that is a part of this congregation, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, the children, and I bid you in the ancient tongue of our forefathers, Shabbath, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem.
Shabbat, Shalom, Shalom, Makah.
First of all, everyone that's out there watching live, please forgive us for our tardiness. We had technical difficulties. And we will start off today by everyone raising their face to the east so we can praise and give the Almighty King his due respect. Hallelujah.
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 Father, we come to you this afternoon, give you all honor, glory, and praise, O Heavenly King. Allow us to arrive to another beautiful Sabbath day, O Heavenly King. May the word be spread throughout the people, O Heavenly King, in this building as well as online, O Heavenly Father. May your word be with us, O Heavenly King, and may it resonate with our souls, O Heavenly Father. And may all things be spoken about today bring esteem to your mighty name, O Heavenly King. Please forgive us of all sins of iniquity that we have committed, O Heavenly Father. And if we have committed any sins that was done on this beautiful Sabbath day, O Heavenly Father, please forgive us. Have mercy upon us, O Heavenly Father, for the grace that you bestow upon us, O Heavenly King. We thank you for your love, guidance, and mercy. We thank you for not turning your face away from us, O Heavenly Father, but allowing us to find you, find your word, O Heavenly King. And let all the people who are having a holy convocation be blessed today on this holy Sabbath day, O Heavenly Father. For the ones that are not, O Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with them. God should protect them. We ask that the ones that are on their way here, are on their way to a holy convocation, Father. God should protect them, O Heavenly Father, to allow them to reach their destination, to praise your mighty name, O Heavenly King. We thank you, O Heavenly Father. We can never thank you enough for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us, O Heavenly Father. For the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding you have given us, O Heavenly King. Allowing us to search your word day in and day out, and allowing us to impress it upon our children, O Heavenly King, so that they can grow up and be the next generation of spiritual champions, O Heavenly Father. And with all these things, we pray in your mighty and merciful name, O Heavenly King. Hallelujah.
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 Amen.
Amen.
All right. We will start today, as we always do, with the reading of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 1. And let us all say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
For I am Yehovah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. And you shall have no other God before me. And you shall not make yourself an idol of anything of any image, of anything that is in the heavens above, on the earth beneath, or what's in the water under the earth. And you shall not bow down nor serve them. For I am Yehovah your Elohim, who brought jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers and the children on the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, and showing loving kindness to thousands of those who love me and keep my commands. You shall not take the name of Yehovah your Elohim in vain, for Yehovah will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. You shall labor 6 days and do all your work, but on the seventh day it is a Sabbath to the Most High, your Elohim. You shall not do any work therein, not you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, your cattle, nor the stranger who is within your gates, or within your gates. For in 6 days Jehovah made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore Jehovah blessed the seventh day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother so that your days will be long in the land which Jehovah your Elohim gives you. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor, and you shall not cover your neighbor's house, you shall not cover your neighbor's wife, his manservant, his maidservant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Psalms 92. It is good to give thanks to Yah and to sing praise to your name, O Most High, to declare your kindness in the morning and your trustworthiness each night, on 10 strings and on the harp, to the sound of cords of the lyre. For you have made me rejoice in your work, O Yah, and I shout for joy. O Yah, how great are your works, your thoughts are very deep. And a senseless man does not know, nor does a fool understand this. When the wrongs spring up like grass, and the workers of wickedness blossom, it is for them to be destroyed forever. But you, Yah, you are on high forever. For look, your enemies, O Yah, for look, your enemies do perish. All the workers of wickedness are scattered. But you lift up my horn, the that of a wild ox, and I have been anointed with fresh oil. My eyes look upon my enemies, and my ears hear the evildoers who rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like a palm tree, and he will grow like a cedar in Lebanon. And those who are planted in the house of the Most High flourish in the courts of our power. And they will still bring forth fruit in an old age, and they will be full of sap and green, and to show that Yah is upright. He is my rock, and in him there is no unrighteousness. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Psalms 124. Had it not been for Yehovah who was on our side, let Yisrael now say. Had it not been for Yehovah who was on our side, when men rose up against us, and they would have swallowed us alive. in their burning rage against us, then the waters would have overwhelmed us, and the stream would have gone over our being, and then the proud waters would have gone over our being. And blessed be Yah who did not give us his prey to their teeth. Our being has escaped like a bird from the snare of the trappers, and the snare was broken, and we have escaped, and our help is in the name of Yahuwah, maker of heaven and earth. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Psalms 125. Those who trust in Yahuwah are like Mount Zion, taking it remains forever. As the mountains surround Yerushalayim, so Yahuwah surrounds his people now and forever. For the scepter of wrongness shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous, unless the righteous stretch forth their hands to unrighteousness. Do good, O Yah, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in their hearts. But those who turn aside their crooked ways, Yah shall lead them away with the workers of wickedness. Peace be upon Israel. Hallelujah. Deuteronomy 6:4 says, Hear, O Israel, the Most High your power, the Most High is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. And these words, what I am commanding you today, shall be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. And it shall be, when Yahuwah your Elohim brings you to the land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov, to give you great and good cities which you did not build, and houses full of all kinds of goods which you did not fill, and wells dug out which you did not dig, vineyards of olive trees which you did not plant, and you shall eat and be satisfied. Be on guard, lest you forget Yahuwah who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. Fear Yahuwah your Elohim and serve him, and swear by his name. Him shall you serve, and by his name you shall swear. Do not go after other mighty ones. The mighty ones are the people that are all around about you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a jealous power in the midst of you. Unless the displeasure of Yahuwah your Elohim burn against you, and he destroy you off the face of the earth. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
As I do, whatever the date is, I do the proverb of that day. Today happens to be the 6th. So I will be reading Proverbs 6. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
My son, if you have become collateral for your neighbor, you have struck your hands and pledged for a stranger. You are trapped by the words of your mouth, and you are ensnared by the words of your mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver yourself. Seeing you have come into the hand of the neighbor, go humble yourself. Press your pleas with your neighbor. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the snare of the fowler. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider the ways and be wise, which having no chief, overseer, or ruler, provide her bread in the summer, and gather her food in the harvest. How long will you sleep, sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands. So your poverty will come as a robber, and your scarcity as an armed man, a worthless person, a man of iniquity. He is who walks with a perverse mouth, who signals with his feet, whose motion with his fingers, and whose heart is perverseness, who devises evil continually, whose discord. Therefore, his calamity will come suddenly. He will be broken suddenly and without remedy. There are 6 things that the Most High hates, yet abominations to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that divides everything in this world begins with thought. The Most High thought, he spoke, and it became. Just like we read in here. It is the power of the tongue that will either save your life or destroy it. What you say and what you do means a lot to people. I'm going to be there tomorrow. And I'm not there. I'm not a man of my word. We have to be able to turn around and be what? Mindful of our brothers and what we say. We got to live right. We got to be right. Everything else is a secondary conversation. Everything we do and everything we say matters. Just like you said, you are ensnared by the words of your mouth. So you got to walk, got to talk of what you walk and talk. It's funny how everything always goes in a full circle. I want to let you know where Shomrey HaTorah stands. Because I can't speak for other Israelite congregations and other Israelite camps. I'm going to tell you what Shomrey stands for. And Shomrey HaTorah is not one person. It is a collective body of people. Nasi Yasharel is the vessel that the Almighty uses to lead. And he has appointed certain individuals to be his right hand and left hand. So we will continue to keep moving in the movement that we have set forth for our nation. Unity, understanding. We are a Torah-based congregation. In other words, Tanakh only or Old Testament, as some will say. We do not subscribe to the New Testament, but we do not shun those who do. Nor do we create discord with those who do follow that way of thought process. We love all our brothers and sisters because at the end of the day, we are a nation. We are a nation of people. We are a nation of priests. We are a nation of kings and queens. And the Yeladim are the future. That's why when you read in Deuteronomy 6:4, it says that you shall impress them onto your children. Speak of them day and night. When you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up, teach them every single day the word of this Almighty King. That's why when you read in the book of Proverbs, the Most High, it says, teach your children in the way that they should go. So when they get older, they do not go astray from the word that you teach them. We have to be better people. We have to be right with ours. And we have to have the power of discernment. That's why you should be reading your book day and night. So that when you do come to a certain individual who may know the word, you can have that proper dialogue. And if you feel that they're leading you in the wrong way, then you can make the decision that you need to make. Okay?
Okay.
But that's where Shomrey HaTorah stands. We stand for righteousness, uprightness. The law, statutes, and commands are what reigns us.
Right.
It is what guides us. As I told the elder outside, the law of the Heavenly Father is the only literary work that you're ever going to see in life that allows the people to self-govern themselves. That's why when you read in Deuteronomy 18, what does he say? Appoint you judges, and whatever they rule on, you shall follow. This is what we do. This is what we do. We allow for many people to come up here and to speak the word of the Almighty King, though we may have differences of opinion, but that's what makes us grow as individuals. Because I don't know everything. I will humbly say that I don't know everything. Gibor Shemuel will tell you he doesn't know everything. Adon Mariel will tell you he don't know everything. Nasi will tell you I don't know everything. But as we come collectively, what we do know, we make a powerful impact. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So with that being said, I will call up Nasi Yasharel, who will go ahead and give us the word for the day. Hallelujah.
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 Everyone may be seated. All praises, all honor, all glory to the supreme intellect of the universe, Yah, of our forefathers, Yah Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Thanking the Heavenly Father for blessing us and allowing us to make it here today. There's things in life that we all have to realize, right? There's times that you have turmoil in your own personal life or things that you go through as an individual. and questions you ask yourself or ask others, and there's always a light and there's always an answer. So everything that you go through in life, always ask for the answer. Always seek for the reason. Always seek for a divine purpose. You know, a lot of times we tend to hate the rain and hate the storm, but we know that there's a blessing after the storm. And what's that? Your crops grow, your vegetation starts to sprout, everything starts to happen. But sometimes in the temporary time of discomfort, it allows to a longer and successful growth in things that happens in your own personal life. This week's portion, we're dealing with a Akre Mot in Kiddushin. Kiddushin probably has some of the most laws, so we're going to be getting into the laws. But Akre Mot is a testimony in itself because this week I sat and I thought about it, and Morgan Gabriel was supposed to bring a presentation, but he had nothing, and that's all divine will, you know. So Akre Mot, we deal with Akre Mot, which is in Wayikra. Akre Mot, it means after death, or after everything, or after the beyond. And you see that kind of in the word meta. When you're dealing with the Greek, it means beyond something. But in the Hebrew word is mawet or mot, which means death or beyond the physical existence, right? So we've seen in this story that's leading up to this, there's a history. Anybody, well, if you follow along with the Torah portion, you see that before this, 2 weeks ago, there was two young men. There was Nadab and Abihu. And let's go to the portion of Wayikra, which is Leviticus, the book of Leviticus in Hebrew of Wayikra. And we're going to start out in the 16th chapter. And since it's a double portion, we're going to go through a pretty brief because the laws are pretty clean cut and straight to the point. But in order to have laws, you have to understand that there has to be a foundation, there has to be an order, there has to be a structure, there has to be a protocol. And I like what Sharon has just done with speaking about that and letting people know where we stand, right? The Almighty has blessed us. Now, if you go into Leviticus 16th, it speaks and it goes into, also, can you read for me, please? Now, while he's walking up there, I want to ask you, has anybody had anybody recently that passed away?
Yeah.
Anybody?
I have.
How did you feel?
I was sad.
Sad, right? Did it do anything to you? Okay. Anybody else? Anything happen? What did it do to you? A lot of times death allows people to focus on the bigger picture. And what's the bigger picture? The bigger picture in life is, what is your divine purpose? You notice that people, when somebody has a child that either dies of cancer, lung cancer, they usually typically start a foundation in their name. They actually have a goal. They have something that they want to seek towards. They have something that they want to become as an individual. They have a new fight in life. And after death, a lot of times when somebody died in the Hebrew Israelite community, you start to see everybody in the seats. Everybody coming around. People you ain't seen in 15 years, because you know what? It's a reality check. That our physical existence is not here forever. And like Sarah read earlier, he says, look into the anti-sluggard. It says, who has no ruler over it, but moves diligently. You know what an ant is doing? You never see an ant just chilling, right? You ever seen an ant just laid up, relaxed? Nah, they ain't relaxing your house, right? Ain't relaxed outside your house. They always building. They constantly have a common goal. And after we left our bondage, our place of Mitzrayim or Egypt, we had a common goal. Anybody know what this common goal was? To go to the promised land and build what? A nation. But before we got into the promised land, we had to establish order, protocol, and structure. So now you have Moshe, who is a great man. You have Aaron, wonderful man. Both of these men had hard times, trials, and tribulations. But for the most part, they were decent. They were going over the inauguration of the temple. How long did the setup for the temple, the setting up for the temple last? How many days? 7 days. And on the 8th day, it was the day of inauguration. So they started prepping the individuals. Everything has to be here. Everything has to be ordered. It's no different than our Sabbath day. Our structure has to be sound. And our part of the tardiness because we went and see the elder and we left with enough time, but the elder couldn't have more than 2 visitors, so we had to go in 2 and 2 increments, right? So we pardoned that, but there was always a setup for the day of the inauguration and the anointing process of the divine creator and putting him before all of us and allowing this tabernacle to be reared up where we see sovereignty as individuals. Now, operate mode. Nadab and Abihu. Abihu means what?
My father.
Huh? You know Abi. Abi's what?
My father.
My father. Who is what? He is my father. So the characteristic shows that there was a level of devotion. They believed that they were close to God, right? Nadab meant what? Like it's like a gift offering. So they had a feeling. They had a feeling of zealousness. Moshe, Aharon, they went up there. They did the holy thing. The Most High allowed the divine flame to come out there. Everybody was excited. Here comes Nadab and Abihu, youngsters new to the game, not following order, not following instructions. They come and bring a strange fire. Now, man, all they did was just come into the place and celebrate like everybody else bringing that strange fire. But sometimes our passion and our drive is the strange fire that's within us that allows us to be castigated by the Almighty because we are led by our own purpose. And in building this, there's a divine structure that resonates above all of our structures and all of our purpose. So let's go with Akre Mo. In Leviticus 10, you don't have to turn back there, but 16, we start with Akre Mo. Leviticus 16, go ahead, read 16.
Hashem spoke to Moses after the death of Aaron's 2 sons. And when they approached before Hashem, they died. And Hashem said to Moses, speak to Aaron, your brother. He shall not come at all times into the sanctuary with the curtain in front of the covering that is upon the ark, so that he shall not die. For in the cloud will I appear unto the ark of covenant.
Okay, so now there's stipulations because the Most High's place and where he dwells is sanctified. Now, mind you, this place here is probably way bigger than the tabernacle. Not probably. It is way bigger than the tabernacle. The structure is better than the tabernacle in some ways. You know, we didn't have to go, we didn't have certain blessed wood that they had, but they had a small place that the Almighty said, hey, let me reserve this sanctity for a certain amount of time. Only allow them to come in once a year. A lot of high priests to come in once a year, right? So he allows them to come in, but when you go into Leviticus 10, it explains more. When Nadab and Abihu offered this strange fire, their body was singed. The Almighty gave commands. His command was to take them. He told his cousins, go get your cousins, command them, go grab them by their garments and pull them out there. There's a lot of emotions going on, right? You think so, right? Somebody just died. And you're confused. What happened? We offering, all of a sudden you hear the spiritual ambulance going off, where you got 2 men that were just offering a flame. This is the inauguration. All the people surrounding the temple, everybody's hyping this. They're excited about everything. They're excited about everything that's going on. And the death happens on the first day. Now, from an observer looking in, what would you have said if you have seen the first day of inauguration somebody die?
We gotta get our life together.
Huh? You gotta get your life together, right? Like, dang, what's going on? Like, this ain't right. Right? This ain't right. Something wrong. They did something wrong. They bad. They evil. They wicked. They did something wrong. God, oh my gosh. I ain't coming back to this tabernacle. This is the last time. I'm gonna build me one. I'm gonna have me a little tent on the side of my house. I'm gonna go. People would start rationalizing things because rationalizingly something is wrong. But God says, go in there and get these men, drag them out. And so now their cousins got to go in there and drag these men out by their garment. Not only that, he commands them. He commands God gives Moses a command to Aaron and his sons and his nephews. And he says, don't unwrap your head either. He said, don't even unwrap your head. Don't tear your garments, because naturally our tradition was when somebody died, we rent our clothes.
Out of sign of mourning.
Out of sign of mourning. He said, don't even show that. Don't flinch. Don't move. You keep this going, right? Make sure you keep this going. So with Akre Mo, in order to establish a consistency in what's going on, there's a divine structure that this is something that's ordained by Yah, and it goes no matter what. Right? So if somebody not here, it goes on. If somebody didn't show, it goes on. We have to move because this is what God ordained. Now, I want to go to a story of Saul and David for a little bit, and then we're going to get into the Kiddushim, the laws. Before we get into Kiddushim, there's some aspects of Akre Mo that need to be touched on. All right. Anybody know the story of David and Saul? Yeah. All right. And I want to tell everybody this. Stop acting like you David and you not Saul. All right? Because a lot of us, we think that we David and not Saul. Was Saul an evil person?
No.
No, right? He was a person dealing with what? Emotions that we all have. He was a person dealing with something that, he felt the way. He felt the way about the kingship. He did things that he thought was right in his eyes, but he was panicking. Even the panicking cost him his life. Do you know why he lost his kingship? Because he was waiting for Samuel. When they were out in the war, he was waiting for Samuel to come to do a sacrifice to let them know that everything was going to be all right. So I was like, wow. Samuel, where's Samuel at? Where he at? Samuel didn't come. He hurries up and does a sacrifice himself. And what does that show? Sometimes it's our impatience that gets us in the way and makes us rejected by the Almighty Creator himself. How many things in life have you lost because of your impatience? Because you were impatient, because you couldn't wait to see that there was resolve in the end of the matter and issues, because there's things that we have to just wait for. Wait for it. God has something special for everybody who develops patience. You know how you tell if you have patience or not? Go to Walmart between the 1st and the 15th. Get on the line and pick a line. And that's when you challenge your patience. You be like, man, you said, wait a minute, y'all only got 5 lines, y'all see 1,000 people in there, but you start getting frustrated, you start to see anger, you start to see everybody angry, but everything comes in due times. So it starts to develop patience, because you can't get to the end of the matter if you don't have that patience. You ever seen one of the memes where there's a guy, he's digging for gold, and he gives up. And one, 2 more scoops.
Right there.
And he's right, it's a big diamond. He would have been the richest man on the planet. He would have been there. But he gives up. But that is showing that we have to have some kind of resolve. And sometimes God may give you the answers. He may even give you the direction, but his time is his time. So with David and Saul, you're seeing that Saul was a little bothered by David. He utilized David because David made him feel good, right? When the spirit was bothered, he said, David, come sing one of these songs. David, come on, I'm coming, king. He playing that melody. Saul is just falling asleep. He's good. His spirit is gone. When David came, and Saul and all his men were out there, all the warriors were out there, ready to just hide, because they seen Goliath, a massive warrior. David was sent by his father. He said, go. Take this meal to them. Take this meal to them. So he goes, hey, Abba said, send me this meal. What are you doing here, boy? Get back there. And he's about to leave, but he hears the Philistines shouting and cursing God, speaking against the Almighty Creator. This man said, who y'all letting talk like this to God? Oh, yeah, he big, man. He big. You go ahead. This is man's job. He's like, Saul, I'll take him on. I done fought a lion. I done fought a bear. I'm not scared of anything. So he wins, and Saul is happy. The Philistine flee, and everything starts to fall into place. So the thing that he utilized to build up his own character is the same thing that he utilized to destroy, or he tried to destroy. So David fled. David did many things. He ran off. He had his little crew with him. And Saul was very upset, right? Let's go to 1 Samuel, the 26th chapter, verse 10 to 11. But before you read that, while you go in there, if you know the story about Saul and David, you know that David was anointed while Saul was still king. He was anointed at a young age. He was anointed by who? Samuel anointed him. But Saul was still king. Why didn't David just take the kingship? Why didn't David? David knew that it was a time and place for everything. He knew that he had to wait. Let's go ahead. You ready? 1 Samuel, I said 26 chapter 10 and 11. Because sometimes he knew that Saul was who? Saul was the king, right? Yeah. And in the structure, he was anointed, right? But who's to say? You know, we read the book, right? And we read it from a perspective like we know. It's absolute. But when Saul was made king, all you knew was somebody said, hey, Saul is king. He's anointed by God. So the people had to believe it, right? Yeah. Or they didn't believe somebody. Like, Saul wasn't probably God would anoint Saul. You know, people probably had what they said, but they had to have a faith because they knew that it had to be a structure in order for them to follow. Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So David took the spear and a glass of water from near Saul's head, and they left. No one saw, no one knew, no one awoke. For they were all asleep, for deep sleep from Elohim had fallen upon them. David then crossed the ford and stood on the mountaintop from afar. Far there were considerable distance between them, and David called out to the people, to Abner, son of Ner, saying, Won't you answer, Abner? Won't you answer, Abner? Answer, he said, Who are you that you shout at the king? David said to Abner, Are you not a great man? Who is your equal in Israel? So why did you not guard your lord, the king? For someone from among the people came to assassinate the king, your master. This thing you have not done is not proper. As Elohim lives, you all deserve to die, for you have not watched over your master, over the anointed of one Elohim. Now look, where are the king's spear and the flask of water that were near his head? Saul recognized David's voice and said, Is that your voice, my son David?
All right, so 1 Samuel 26, 10 to 11. Yeah. All right, cool. Now let's stop there and listen. Anybody know what happened? David was on the run from Saul. Saul is parading around looking for David. David knows where Saul is. He goes in there, creeping in. He takes a little thing, takes a little water flask right by Saul's head, basically letting you know, I could have killed you. Man. And David does something that's so miraculous. He waits till we walk away, and he calls out to Abner. He knows where Abner is, and he says, Abner. Yeah. He said he rebuked Abner for not protecting his king. He said, why didn't you protect this king? Isn't he not anointed by God? He said, somebody came to assassinate him, and you let him in. And he shows the flask. So in his way, he's thinking like, you got to be better on protecting this king. But he knew himself that he couldn't lay a finger on Saul. So David goes on to explain, and he says that it is not me to lift a hand against the ruler or the king. It is but of God. So there was a divine order that he's seen inside of him, and he knew that, guess what? You know what, Saul? Your time will run out. And he even said, you might even die in the battle. But it's not for me to do that. So in Akre Mot, we see that there is levels, and there's order, and there's consistency, because no matter what happens, the structure still stays the same, right? Let's say your mother make a cake, and she wrote down everything she made. This is the best cake. Anybody, mama make cake or pie? She make a cake or pie, anything you like?
Yeah.
All right, she made the bomb. And then she gave you a recipe. She takes you a recipe, she puts it to the side. And she pulls it out the oven, and here go little audio running through the kitchen. Bam, knocks over the cake. Now, temporarily, that cake is done. There's nobody eating the cake. It's gone. But what is still there? The recipe. So the recipe has to stay intact. The order has to stay intact so it could be a continuance of what's going on in life. So now, in order for us to allow ourselves to go into Kiddushim, the holy aspect of the spiritual part, we have to understand that no matter what, when we are ministering before God, there is a high sanctity in the order of everything that we're doing. So whether it's an offense, whether it is, whatever it is, we have to keep the show going, order, structure, because this right here represents who? It represents the Almighty. It represents the Almighty. We have to have reverence to this. When you come here, when you see a child talking, when you see a child misbehaving, you pull them to the side and say, stop. This is the order of God, the divine order of the spiritual creator. And don't wait for no wind to sweep down in here and people to levitate and tap you on your shoulder, because that might not ever happen. But understanding you have the ability to summon the highest power on earth at any time, and you come here and you have a holy Sabbath, you have a holy order, you put together a holy structure, all built in the name of divinity and the name of Yah. Now, what more respect should you want? What more ordinance or higher? What could be greater than this that you're doing? What could be greater than the rules that you put in place for your child and your children? Your child could be here. Your child could be somewhere playing basketball right now. Your child could be hanging out in the streets. Your child could be doing whatever they think is good, and they will, but they're here actually applying and listening to wisdom. Now, wisdom don't seem nothing like when you're a child, right? It don't seem like cool. It ain't cool when you're a child.
No.
Wisdom ain't that cool. And I never said, babe, what you want to be? What you want to do, son? I want to be wise. They don't say that. No, they don't say that. I want to be a basketball. I want to be the NBA. I want to dunk. I want to be the next this and that. You know how they do. You know their spirit. You know how they feel. But wisdom is something that you acquire over time, because you start to realize, hey, that even though you may have heard something similar like this before, sometimes it has to be drilled in your head, just like them commercials. You ever been sitting there late at night and you mind your own business, and you see the little pizza cutter go through the pizza and the cheese is ripping from it, and you like, yeah, and all of a sudden you pick up the phone? Well, it's the same thing, because day after day, week after week, you're getting the laws of God. You're getting the wisdom of people that are surrounded by righteous people. You get that here. You're around people that love each other. You're around people that love God. You're around people that honor themselves and respect themselves. So what we're governing ourselves with is something that's high in this place. And we have to understand that the Almighty has put together this structure. He has put together an order. Stop taking away the divinity from what we're doing. Don't sell yourself short. Oh, you not Moses, brother. You not Aaron. Who made you Bezalel? Who made you this? We are the people of the book. We are the people of the book. We follow the patterns of the people of the book, and we have to believe that we are the people of the book, because it took a mindset for individuals to want to build a tabernacle. It took a desire for King David to want to build a temple to his Lord. It started out, like Sarah said earlier, as a thought. So now you have to think in divinity. You have to think like a divine man. You have to think like a righteous person in order for you to deliver a righteous result.
Yeah.
And something that's upright. And people, there were mistakes in righteousness.
That's right.
There was mistakes in intents of righteousness. And in the portion before our great Moses rebuked Aaron. But Aaron had to correct Moses on why he didn't partake in the burnt offering. Because he was mourning and his heart wasn't in it. And then Moses went to the Lord and said, you know what, you're right. So these are things. Guess what? We never had Have you ever been part of a national government that was set aside and separate from America? Anybody in here been a part of a government separated from America? So that means now that you're embarking on something that's really what? New. It's foreign, but it's the fear of embarking into something that's foreign that stops us from putting together a government today, right? So now, in order to have this divine structure that we about to put in place, we about to put in place that hope things get better, to make things run smoothly, because we've been moving kind of frivolously through this whole thing and thinking God is going to bless us, but God is not going to bless us without order and structure. And this structure is put into place to protect you and everybody here. From the princes to the chief man to everything, so everything can work properly. And you should be inspired to be a part of something. Even though the seats ain't packed, that don't mean nothing. You know why the seats ain't packed? Because you ain't set the structure yet. As soon as you set that structure, watch people come piling in here, because everybody want to be a part of something great and divine. They do. Well, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Everybody want to be a Hebrew. They waking up. My kids, I'm talking, we found 2 different people in our complex that's Hebrew Israelites. The Most High is waking them up and they want to get here. But the Most High is going to start waking us up, and we got to be better. We got to do better, every last one of us. So now in operate mode in Leviticus 16, I want us to go directly to 17. Because in 17, I skipped over some of the sacrifices because I go over the metaphysical aspect of the sacrifices, but today I want to be just straight to the point. I want to be general, I want to be blunt, and I want you to receive the message to the best of your ability. Now, there's actually a prohibition of sacrificing inside of the scriptures, because during that time, there were certain things that were going on, and we have to think like they think. My wife asked me today, she said, what does it mean by saying stay out of the house of idolatry? Does that mean you can't go into church? And she asked me, she said, does that mean you can't go in the building that was a church? She asked me just general questions. And I said, it's in context. Isaiah's prophesying to people that are they going in there to clean up? Are they going in there to convert them? Isaiah's prophesying to people who are worshiping in the house of idolatry. So don't allow your ignorance or your vain reading of the scriptures to make your mind so blunt that it cannot define and make accurate, precise incisions into what you're trying to interject into. You have to have the ability to see that, hey, if you go into a church to convert them, you going in the name of the Creator. Elijah, it said in the book, do not even utter their name out your mouth. He was so Elijah said they name. But he was mocking them because he was slaughtering them. He was going to prepare them. So things are about context. If you don't understand context, and prophecy never overrides or supersedes law.
That's right.
It doesn't. It gives accent, or it helps give definition and contrast and insight to the law.
Thank you.
So this is why we go here, and this is why we're talking about the things we're talking about. Chapter 17, go ahead.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron, to his son, and all the congregation of Israel, and say to them, this is the matter that Hashem has commanded, saying, any man from the house of Israel who will slaughter an ox, a sheep, or a goat in the camp, or will slaughter outside the camp, and has not brought it to the entrance of the tent of meeting, to bring it as an offering to Hashem before the tabernacle of Hashem, it shall be considered as bloodshed for that man. He has shed blood. That man shall be cut off from the midst of the people. All right, so now it's saying, now we're talking about sacrifice and slaughter. They're saying if you kill an animal, you had to bring it up to the temple. Why? Because you're coming out of idolatry. Coming out of idolatry, most people are slaughtered and sacrificed to a foreign entity. So in order to regulate the sacrificing and to regulate you going back into a look like a form of idolatry, we ask that even if you kill this meat and you're about to eat it, bring it to the temple. Okay.
Is that applicable to even like a regular slaughter for the sake of human consumption?
Okay, that's what it was at that time, but then it's going to go back into it and it's going to remove it. It's going to temporarily remove it because there's a status that at that time we had to bring it there because we didn't know, and then they said why the prohibition was put into place. So in it, we can see it as applicable to today's life is that when we bring something and we slaughter something, that we give our prayers to the Creator. So you got to apply these things to daily lives. How many people just scarf down food and stuff and don't even give the glory to God?
Exactly.
See, you say, well, what's that? What's glory to God? You have to be grateful for things that happen in your life. Your children should pray over everything. You give your child something and they don't want to eat it, they should eat it. I don't want to eat it. No, pray over it. Thank God. Thank God for little things. It's nothing better than a grateful child. A child that ain't great, you give them something. You ever had something, you brought something home and you do, your baby gonna love this? Even though you kind of knew she might not like it, but you liked it. So you thought she would like it because you like it. And you bring it to her and you're like, oh, I didn't want this color. And you're like, girl. And what about a child that says, thank you, Emma, I love this. I appreciate this. This may not be my favorite color, but I love this. There's ways of saying things. And our children need to have gratitude towards things that are so divine. We are blessed as a people. America is one of the most corrupt, blessed places in the world.
What irony.
Yeah, it is, right? It's like it's blessed corruption. Good Lord, you're like, man, I get to drive wherever I want to go. I'm on my cell phone, but it's a curse, but. And people in the third world corner like, how you curse? People in Cuba like, this is curse? I want to be cursed. And we don't take advantage of it. You have access as a child. You have your child there on one of my children, man, I come in there, man, every day. He watching other people play Minecraft. He not even playing Minecraft. He watching other people play Minecraft. So when he get into the game, guess what? He an expert. He already know where to go, when to go, who to go, where to go. But guess what? That's that same knowledge that's in that phone. There's libraries locked in this. There's things that you can access. You ever been on the website and you was looking up something, there was some good information and you got booted off? Well, this is no longer accessible to you. You're like, man, what do I do? Who am I? Yeah, page not found. You're like, I'm just on here. It's because they're allowing you, the world is allowing you to regain your heritage and nationality as a Hebrew Israelite, as a person that is divine to the Almighty. The Almighty put a special emphasis on who you are as a people. So it's blessed and it's a great thing for you to stand strong and become who you are as an individual. Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So that children of Israel bring their feast offering. So the children of Israel shall bring their feast offering that they have been slaughtering onto the open field. They shall bring them to Elohim, to the entrance to the means, to the Kohen. They shall slaughter them at a feast peace offering to Hashem. The Kohen shall throw the blood upon the altar of Elohim at the entrance to the meetings. He shall cause the fats to go up in smoke with a satisfying aroma to Hashem. They shall no longer slaughter their offerings to the demons, after whom they stray. This shall be an eternal decree to them for their generations. And to them that you shall say, any man of the house of Israel, and of the proselyte, who shall dwell among you, will offer up a burnt offering or feast offering, and he will not bring it to the entrance of the meeting to perform service to your Hashem. That man shall be cut off from the midst of his people. All right, so now, why is this imperative to you today? Most of our sin is dietary. Right? You know that, right? Most of our sins is dietary. We know something. You go in there and you're not a scientist, but when you turn into the ingredients, it look like you have to be a scientist to decipher it. And because you're lazy, you don't want to call a company, you just open it up and eat it. It's good. Please God forgive me for whatever I ate and all things. You take the easy way out instead of really researching it, because appetite is a mother. It is. Appetite, desire, lust, whatever is going to get you in a place. So now God has determined how to regulate your appetite. And how does he do it? He also says the proselyte or the stranger around you.
So when you're coming out and you're liberating your people, the people that you eating with have to be giving glory to God.
Yeah.
Now that's different now, right? He said they got to come up to them. If not, they're cut off. What are you doing hanging around cut off people? If they're not praising over their meal to Yah, you shouldn't be eating with them.
Right.
You shouldn't be breaking bread with them.
Mm.
You're like, yeah, are you hungry? No, I'm not hungry. I'm good. How you feel? I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I'm just trying to get to the house. Yeah. Yo, y'all eat. It's all right. Because you have to start putting levels of distinction between them and you. And that's for everybody. A lot of us have fallen off on that. We get weak moments, don't we? We do get our little weak moments. But let us be stronger in what we're doing. I've seen it. How many times you go over there and you go to your mother's house the day before Thanksgiving? You know the day before Thanksgiving is just like the day of Thanksgiving. You know, I just helped her. She had to rearrange some stuff. And then she said, come by tomorrow. Mama, I don't want to come by tomorrow and get you a plate, baby. She come by tomorrow. You get everything but the turkey. You get everything but the turkey. I ain't getting that, Mama. That's Thanksgiving sign all over it. But you got 2 plates, one for you, one for your husband. And then you like, I'm about to leave. No, baby, stay. And then you stay, they throw the prayer up and the prayers in the name of whoever they want to worship. And you like, oh my goodness. You just participated in the massacre of your own people. Through appetite. When your job, they start setting up that tree around Christmas time and you already know the spirit about to come. Don't act like that spirit don't be battling you. You got the jingle. You in Atlanta and they got snow on the tree. Inside the job, snow going on this tree. This is strange to me. But you're in that spirit. You're motivated. They're putting you there. And then they say, hey, we know y'all about to go on vacation. It's not Christmas, but we have a winter dinner.
Yeah, a holiday party.
Yeah, a holiday party.
Yeah.
And you say holiday, does that include Hanukkah? And you be like, yeah, what's that? You like, yeah, that's in it too. And then you go because of appetite. See, us as Hebrew Israelites, when you start reading the laws of slavery and the Israelites selling themselves into 6 years, that was a Hebrew selling himself into other nations. Or he was serving unto you. So we had a rule, and there was a group of Hebrews that were called the original Hebrews that were called the Hebrews. The Hebrews had a law of 6 years of slavery. But they would license themselves out because they were a nomadic group. So when time got hard, they would go out and do work for other nations and then bring it back to the community. But they were so separated that this was a shameful thing to them. It was a shameful thing to them. But it doesn't have to be shameful to us. When we sit down, we eat, we partake in ourselves. You don't pray over food with other people because their intentions is to basically bless their stuff. If you don't know if the food is kosher or is halal, don't partake in it because they are going to give glory to another God. They're giving glory to another God. So now it's incumbent upon us to start to create our own continue.
Any man of the house of Israel and of the proselyte who dwells among them, who will consume it, any blood, I shall consecrate my attention upon the soul, consume the blood. I will cut it off from his people.
All right, another thing, because one of the things why they sprinkle the blood on the altar is a public sign to let you know that there's nothing going on. They let you know that, hey, this is what the blood. When they say when you eat of a certain meat and it's going to go in there, you got to drain that blood and cover the blood up so that blood from that animal is not in no ritualistic practice. You eating the body and somebody else eating the blood and offering it to a higher deity. We have to be very mindful. This stuff is, there's a lot of science behind spirituality. Our parents used to say stuff that didn't make no sense. No sense. Like we just spoke about last week when the brother did a beautiful lesson. He spoke about the lefties and the correlation between homosexuality. So I used to ask my mother, I said, my mother, why you switch my hands? From left to right. She said, oh, because that was gay. Me being left-handed was gay. But they understood something, but they really didn't understand it. They didn't understand it in its completion. So there's old time sayings, like even when it says, when you're sleeping with somebody, that's a spirit. They put a spirit upon you. Now, modern day science is telling you that sperm actually affects the female brain. So she's going to end up, she's thinking like this person. You know what I'm saying? You might be in a relationship and you're talking to somebody and you're talking to the person that they used to be with. So women need to get, hey, you know what? Hey, dope boy Joe, who ain't graduated from high school, ain't doing right. You got a college degree. You got your own house. You doing good. Dope boy Joe come have sex with you, and all of a sudden you making all the dumbest decisions in the world. That's dope boy Joe. So be careful and mindful on how you move forward in life, because everything has an effect no matter how bad we try to uncover it up or whatever. Everything that you want or desire in life has a cost. Can you afford that cost? This is something that we have to be mindful of. It's every last one of us. Every decision you make is going to cost you in the long run. Yeah. Is it a good reward or is it a bad reward? You can pretend the reward is good, but that don't make it right. Because in the outcome, it will cost you in the end. So be mindful of all things you do, because the Almighty wants to consecrate us as a nation. Let's go to verse 10. All right. Let's go all the way down. All right. Let's go to 15.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Any person who will eat the dye or is turned, the native or the proselyte, he shall be immersed in garments, immerse himself in water. He shall remain contaminated until the evening, and then become pure. But if he does not immerse his garments, and does not immerse his flesh, he shall bear his iniquity. All right.
So it's defilement of one who eats from a carcass that's small. So it's basically you cannot eat animals that die themselves. That's a good healthy practice, ain't it?
I wouldn't eat no
Yeah, huh? But do you really eat animals that die themselves? Because guess what? In the farm, when an animal dies, they grind the animal die itself. They grind the animal up and they put it in the mulch. They put it in the feed. So if a cow died, they grind it up and they put it in the feed of the cow, mix it up, and the cow's eating basically himself in the feed. And that's how you get mad cow disease. That's how you get mad cow disease. And they do it, and they make, oh no, because the hormones inside of this is just terrific. Yeah, it's hormones. This is the dead animal. But we don't know. See, this is why you got to have people that tell you that are front and center about what they're doing when they're raising. But in truth, we have to raise our own. They raise our own. We have to get there. We're going to get there. We raise our own. We just steps away from it. We're going to be there. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All right, 18.
Hallelujah. Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am Hashem, your God. Do not perform the practices of the land of Egypt, in which you dwell. Do not perform the practice of the land of Canaan, which I bring you. Do not follow the traditions. Carry out my laws and safeguard my decrees and follow them.
All right, let's stop that. Let's stop. It says, do not follow after the ways of Egypt. And we thinking like the Egyptians over there in Africa, right? We thinking about like the Egyptians today, the Arab Republic. No. It's like land of Canaan. No, Canaan is just the merchants. What does Canaan mean? Canaan is merchants. That's all it means. It means what? The capitalistic society. Do not follow the ways of the capitalistic society. Do not follow the ways of the oppressive system that is in Egypt. Because that Mitzrayim is from the Zar, which is depression or stress. Do not follow their patterns. It said do not even go after their traditions and use the word kukwat, which is statutes. So that means the book is actually telling us don't let them govern you.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
They can't even govern you. You can't even follow. They said, well, that's statutory law. Statutory what? We don't follow that. According to our law, we cannot follow the statutes of the nations, but follow God's laws. But the problem with our nation is we're so far into the other nation that we allow them to organize us, them to give us justice, them to tell us how we should live, what we should do. And then when we come to us today, we just do it from a religious perspective. God said, stop that. He said, do not even follow their statutes. You never never signed on to do 85 or do less than 85 on 85. That's not your law. Did you agree to them in any of these laws? No. That's their law. You're governed by a higher law. And this is why they're trying to remove the laws of the Bible from out of Congress. Because you're finding a way out of it. You're finding a way out of it. You can actually own your own child if you don't put him on a birth certificate. Put the child on a birth certificate. The government owns them. They tell you what you're going to do with them, how much you're going to pay for them, because that's their property. Tell them I ain't paying no child support. That's my baby. It's not your baby. It's their baby that you signed over to, and you gave them guardianship, and they can tell you what to do, when to do it, whenever you do it. This ain't for people that don't want to take care of their kids. That's not what I'm saying. If you're a person that don't take care of your kids, log off. But this is for our nation to let us know who we are. So let's go into some of these practices. Go ahead.
You shall observe my decrees and my laws, which man carry out, and by which he shall live. I am Jehovah. Any man shall not approach his close relative to uncover his nakedness. I am Hashem.
So the word they use is she'er, which means a remnant. So anything that comes from your loins, or anything that comes from the loins of your family, or your father, or you cannot touch. Right? That's the same thing for what we use for she'or, which is comments, and she'or and comments, which we use as leavening. But it's saying something that's a remnant that comes forth out of you. Go ahead.
The nakedness of your father and the nakedness of mother you shall not uncover. She is your mother, and you shall not uncover her nakedness. All right.
And so that uncovering your nakedness is a sexual thing. It's not talking if your mother's sick and you have to help her out or change her. It's better that somebody like you do it than somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never put your parents don't belong in the old folks' home. You put together old folks' home, that's where they go. No, you're supposed to take care of your parents just like they took care of you. You know, don't ever. And then you know why they died. Then the thing that killed me when people complain about how they treating their parents.
Exactly.
Oh, y'all ain't checked on my mama in a week, and you just been there like 3 months. You ain't been there 3 months, and you want to sue. Black people love suing, boy. They love suing, but take care of your parents. No matter how much it bothers you, but it allows you to love and understand. Because guess when you was a child and you didn't have it anymore. Oh, you didn't have it. Period. You never got it. They took care of you. So that same responsibility, when your mother raised you up as a baby, when they get older, they're going to start going into almost a state that's similar to that, where you're going to have to pay back and do what's right in the eyes of God. So don't give your parent up for adoption.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. See the parents. And if you can, one of the best things that you can, we have a place, and it's called Christian City, right? In Union City, right? But believe you me, there's Hebrews in Christian City. I don't know what it is.
All right.
In Christian City, you can sign up and you can actually just be like a person that helps out with the elderly, and even the elderly is just coming by playing chess with them. Like go sign up if you can. Make it your goal this week to sign up for old folks home. And guess what? These older people got wisdom. They even wait for a young person to come to their door. Is that a youngster? I'm gonna tell you about the good old days. And they're gonna tell you, but guess what? God's gonna send you there. If God sends you there, they're gonna say something that's imperative to your life. That's how it always works. God, Most High's in everything. So if you can, sign up. They do criminal background checks. You might not make the cut. But if you ain't a criminal, sign up. And you can help out. All right? Continue.
Hallelujah. The nakedness of your father's wife you shall not uncover. It is your father's shame.
All right.
The nakedness of your sister, whether your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether born to one who remains in the home or born to one who must remain outside of it, you shall not uncover the nakedness.
All right.
The nakedness of your son.
So it's your sister. Even if she may be born from outside the house, she's still your sister. She's in the house. Don't uncover her nakedness. Go ahead.
The nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, you shall not uncover the nakedness, for they are your own shame. The nakedness of your father's wife, Your father's wife's daughter, who was born to your father, she is your sister. You shall not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of your father's sister, you shall not uncover. She is your father's flesh. The nakedness of your mother, you shall not uncover, for she is your mother's flesh. The nakedness of your father's brother, you shall not uncover. Do not approach his wife. She is your aunt. The nakedness of your daughter-in-law, you shall not uncover. She is your son's wife. You shall not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of your brother's wife, you shall not uncover. It is your brother's shame. The nakedness of a woman and her daughter, you shall not uncover. You shall not take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness.
All right, so it's funny that they use nakedness, but they're talking in the sexual connotation, right? So, in truth, because you revealing yourself leads to what? Sexual immorality. So don't be a person that is desiring or want to be a part of a place or be a part of a system where sexual immorality and nakedness is a practice. Where's nakedness a practice at? Where everybody goes?
No, like Europe. You got them,
I'm talking about in America.
Oh, strip club.
Strip club, what else?
The beach.
The beach.
Freak me.
The beach. All your rules go out the window when you're at the beach. It's like modest. They like, oh, shit, excuse me, sir, can you check your modesty over here? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking.
I need a tax.
You will never let nobody in your house to see your wife in her bra and her panties. But when you get to the beach, you forgot about that rule. All y'all in there, your daughters, y'all family nakedness. Let's be family nakedness time. Let's all go together. Hey, yeah. That's my little daughter and her little brother. Yeah, she looking like, what? Because you're uncovering her. Do you see how morality just went out the window?
Yeah.
And the elder Prince Richard, and I'll never forget this. He taught this one time. He was like, man, he knocked on the brother's door. He said the brother they went to the beach, and the brother was new. He didn't understand everything, so he brought his wife there on the beach, and they dressed like they were ready for the beach. And so he went by the brother's house next day, and the brother said, he knocked on the door. He said, hey, brother, give me a second. My wife ain't dressed. He said, no, brother, I'm good.
Oh, wow.
What you mean? I'm good, brother. I seen it yesterday. It's all the same old thing. He was like, oh, no, it's not the same thing, brother. So, but he was being an antagonist of the situation. But in truth, it's the same thing. It is the same thing. Am I right for my 2-piece? I'm getting right for my 1-piece. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. We have to realize that there's certain standards that we don't go under. And what may seem innocent, you notice that our skirts have getting shorter and shorter during the year. It's nothing. It may be an innocent thing letting your daughter be a cheerleader, but really, is it innocent?
Yeah, like really?
It's not. She flipping, she kicking. Now, if she in the house, you be like, girl, fix your skirt. Put your skirt down. But then she want to be a cheerleader, and it's okay for everybody to watch it, but not just some people. If you're going to expose your drawers, expose them on a massive scale, baby. this is the knowledge that we get. I mean, hey, you be like, dang, girl, what you just do?
All the old
right?
guys.
And then you got the one guy to catch the girls.
I got you.
You have to watch out because you think it's nothing. Society, most times says, stay away from their traditions and their culture. It's going to corrupt you. It's going to corrupt you. And we should teach our daughters that it's okay to be covered up. Watch your girls' shirts. They start to get tight. Watch the skirts. They start to get tight. They start to get shorter because they want to fit in. You know why? Because we're social people. Nobody want to be outcast and rejected by society. And this is why we got to create our own society. We have to be around each other, even if let's say we all live in the same cul-de-sac. And we all like, hey, everything cool. We have our own community. We have something. But we have to be in that mindset. Go ahead.
Hallelujah. You shall not take a woman in addition to her sister to make them rivals, to uncover her nakedness of one upon the other in his lifetime. All right, so in ancient Egyptian customs, it was natural. It was a way of keeping the inheritance inside of the family. In ancient Babylon and the Sumeria, you would marry a sister. And it wasn't just in these places. It was just a natural tradition that you would marry a half sister to keep the family intact. Well, the Most High came and said, "Hey, this thing doesn't work." Why? Because what happens when you inbreed? Yeah.
You have recessive genes. Recessive genes leads to deformities. It leads to stuff like scoliosis or crooked nose or even having blonde hair or blue eyes. Blue eyes is a recessive trait. I mean, somebody in your family was just stacking and stacking and stacking. So the Most High is, he's the scientist behind all this. He's letting you know, hey, this is the practice of the world. I want to divine people that remove themselves from certain practices. A lot of stuff I like, but some of this stuff got to go. Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You should not approach a woman in her time of unclean separation to uncover her nakedness. You shall not lie carnally with your fellow's wife to contaminate yourself with her. You shall not present any of your children to pass through for Molech. Do not profane the name of God. I am Elohim. You shall not lie with man as one lies with woman. It is abomination.
All right, let's stop right there. Hold on. I'm trying to get this thing up. Man, they won't even show what it's so. They're trying to remind me of something, but they're not even telling me what's trying. All right. So let's think about this Molech, right? All right, where we at? All right, do not allow. All right, what's that again? All right, do not allow any of your offspring to be handed over for Molech, and do not profane the name of God. All right. Now, many of you probably like, oh, I don't hand my child over to Molech. Anybody offer their child to Molech? All right. So Molech is an ancient deity, but it's worshipped today as far as this in the sign of a what? An owl and a bull. Now, if you know about what's the grove called?
Hollow Grove?
No, not Hollow Grove.
Oh, sorry.
Where all the Illuminati go.
Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove. All right, yeah. You guys said hum, baby. See, I had it. Hum. So Bohemian Grove, right? They sacrifice into a ritualistic owl. They come there and they bring their offerings. Now, these are the dignitaries of the world. Now, why is the Bible putting Molech, and how do we apply this into this time? Because they said that they sacrificed the children in the valley of Tafneh to Molech. And the word Taf is what? A drum. So your children are being sacrificed to a foreign entity by the beats, the percussions, the bass. They're basically leading your children into idolatry. And if you look at these rap videos, in almost every video, you're gonna see somebody with a shirt with an owl on it.
Yeah, look at Drake.
Yeah. Drake's whole album was owl.
Well, owl, they are owl because they are leading your children to the worship of Molech. And you think I have listened to everything on the radio, and you cannot listen to the radio no more. You cannot listen to the radio no more. There's nothing good on there. You take the best of the worst and you still try to make it good. Like we have to listen to white stations now. Yeah. You know, I had to look at like Justin Bieber. It's not that bad. Yeah, compared to Rihanna and all that other stuff. But you have to look at it. But this is what your child is. Listen, they know this. They study this book. The people, the powers be study this book. So they know that they can get your children with the bass, the boom, doom. You're nodding your head. Your children, they act like it ain't affecting them, but it's affecting them. And the book has this interpretation that is resounding. It's telling you in codes and riddles that these people, they read this in a code. The people that rule the world, they read this book and they act on it. They act on it. Continue.
Do not lie with any animal to be contaminated with it. A woman shall not stand before an animal for mating. It is perversion. Do not become contaminated through any of these.
All right, so you know a man married his dog recently, right?
Wow.
Yeah, he married his dog. But they lead you up to stuff like love is blind. Yeah. That's the same. You be like, yeah, love is blind. It doesn't have. Yeah.
Love has no speech.
Yeah, it doesn't speak. Okay. They wasn't no religion. They just married his dog. Legally married his dog. Just like there was a guy who sued God.
Illegally,
the guy took God to court.
10 states is legal for that.
Yeah.
10 states. It's legal for the United States.
That's crazy. Continue.
The land shall become contaminated. I will cause iniquity upon it, and the land discord in its inhabitants. But you shall safeguard my decrees and my judgments, and not commit any of these abominations. The native or the proselyte who lives with you, for the inhabitants of the land who are before you committed all these abominations, and the land became contaminated. Let not the land discord you, and having contaminated, as it discord the nation that was before you. For if anyone commits any of these abominations, the people doing so will be cut off from among the people.
All right, so there's a spiritual cutoff that's going to happen if we don't follow the Creator. Things are not going to go right in your life. And most people don't understand that cutoff. They just don't. They don't. A child is define their parent. They see it as liberation. They see them as getting away, but they'll be back. And then when they come back, they have a cutoff mentality because they don't understand the reasoning of why they're coming back. Go ahead.
Hallelujah. You shall safeguard my charge. Do not to do any of the abominable traditions that were done before you. Do not contaminate yourself through them. I am Hashem, your God. Chapter 19. Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the entire assembly of the children of Israel, saying to them, you shall be holy, for I am holy. Hashem, your God. Every man, your mother, your father, shall be reserved. Shall you reserve, and my Sabbath shall you observe. I am Hashem, your God. Do not turn to the idols and to the molten gods. Shall you not make for yourself? For I am Hashem, your God.
All right, so it talks about a man shall fear his father and his mother and observe my Sabbath. So they're all in the same line, right? So it's basically showing you that the reverence for the mother and the father is the same as the Sabbath. Don't be a person that obeys the Sabbath, but don't reverence your parents. These parents are everything in our existence and our wake. You learn more about yourself by studying your parents, by being under your parents. Your parents may not even tell you what they've been through, but they'll tell you, hey, don't get into this because I've been down. They say, I've been down that path. Been down that path. Been down that path. You know what I mean? You should. But in this, we have reverence for our parents. Watch them and observe them. Because we have the same traits. We do. You ever seen a person hate his father? And he's just like his father? Because that's the curse. You hate something so much, you become it. And that's the same thing with us in our independence. You can't sit here and talk about hating the white man, and then you're going to do what? Become the white man. You're going to start thinking like the white man.
You're going to be a slave.
Okay. You can't judge your parents. No, you can't judge your parents. Your parents have to be judged by God. There's certain things that you can't do as a child. Even when they say a person sins and they do something that's worthy of death, it tells everybody. It says the first man to see it, he shall cast a stone. It says this person, but it never says the child. It never says it goes to the whole family, it goes to the brother, but it never says a child. You kill your brother, you this and that, but a child can never. You're not even allowed to criticize and judge your parents where it messes you up on how you think of them. Now, and this goes back to the story of Noah in the ark. When they seen Noah drunk and in a stupid state and half conscious, and he knew what happened, but didn't. They had to go in there and do what? They had to walk backwards. And that symbolism was showing that they're covering up their parents' shame. So the people that didn't have the ability to cover up their parents' shame was cursed. So if you don't cover up your parents, you have to cover up your parents' shame and stop being so judgmental of your parents. Your parents you don't know, none of us even know what our parents been through. Some people say, my mother a crackhead. How can I respect that? Have you ever tried crack? Somebody say, yeah.
I don't know about that.
I hope not. You ain't never going outside again. But that's a drug. That's a monster in itself. You never had to fight that. You don't know what he could have did it for me. It's not that simple. Sometimes their journey in life, sometimes their hand that they was dealt was too much for them. My mother gave me up. Well, maybe that was the best thing for you at that time. You don't know. You can live the what ifs and whys your whole life, but if you have a sense of reverence and understanding them, understanding maybe that they did this because this, you can allow yourself to love somebody. And we talk about this all the time, right? The basis of love is understanding somebody. Most of your arguments are predicated because you don't understand why a person did it. Husband and wife, you're arguing because why? I don't understand why you did that. If you understand why you did it, we say stuff like, I see where you're coming from, and stuff like that, then the conversation is better, right? It's way better. But we have to start having the understanding. Most I say get knowledge, but above all things, get understanding. So honor so the parents is on the same sentence as Sabbath. So just as you honor Sabbath, and that's a perfect example. Let's say you become a Hebrew Israelite, your parents not a Hebrew Israelite. And you be like, well, I'm a Hebrew now. I ain't gotta listen to you. God, y'all ain't doing what God say. I do what God say. Don't do that. That's a one-way ticket to chastisement by the Almighty. You never the law is never to put you over your parents. The law is to put you under your parents. And that's what the law do. So when you become a Hebrew Israelite, yes, ma'am? Yes, sir? You 50 years old. Your grandma, your mother's 70? Yes, ma'am? Yes, sir. My mother today, man. My mother tell me to do something. I'm scared. My mother gave me beatings that lasted she gave me the Willie Lynch beating, so it should last about 300 years. I have to come back almost 5 times until I'm done scared with my mother. I would have to come back, reincarnate 5 times. Because my mother instilled in me, and not just because of chastisement, because of the reverence and respect. You ever had that time where your mother, the house is dirty, and your mother told you keep the house before she get home, and she come home a little earlier than you thought, and you hear that car pulling up, where everything is slow motion. I mean, you got the Matrix coming out, you cleaning up, all type of stuff happening. And yeah, it's the same thing. But when you get older, you still know that they might not be able to beat you up like they used to, but you still have that reverence and love and fear. And honoring, sometimes that honor is more than fear. Some of us need fear. But some of them have a level of honor where fear it's not even appropriate for our lives. We don't need that. And I love my mother. I love my mother and father. Was my father perfect? No. My mother perfect? Oh, no. No, none of them was perfect. But they were the best parents I had. Right? Love them. Love them. Continue.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
When you slaughter a feast peace offering to Hashem, you shall slaughter it to find favor for yourself. On the day you slaughter it shall be eaten, and on the next day, whichever remains to the 3rd day shall be burnt in the fire. All right, so now you got 3 days. When you eat some food, you have 3 days to eat it. Now, that's dealing with the offering. So a lot of us utilize that same thing. A lot of, if you work in restaurants, they kind of follow the same code. All right, let's go into the 9th chapter, the 9th verse. Hallelujah. When you reap the harvest of the land, you should not complete your reaping to the corners of your field, and the gleaning of your harvest you shall not take. You shall not pick the undeveloped twig of your vineyard, and the fallen fruit of your vineyard you shall not gather. For the poor and the proselyte you shall leave for them. All right, so here goes the Creator with a divine law. It'll stop poverty. So when you have your own field, if that fruit falls to the ground, don't pick it up and eat it. Yeah. Leave it for whoever's coming, whoever wants to eat it, even for the animals. If you have the edges of your field, the corners of your field, so when people walk by, they can just pick and eat. Why? So what does that stop? You can that allows you to be able to take care of people from a distance without even doing it yourself. So somebody coming, you'll be like, hey, get your hands off my no. This is an open place. Now people that steal are being greedy because they want meat. They want meat. They don't want no fruits. So they come in, sneak and get your chicken and get your cow, walk off with your goat. I seen something today. It was on the edge. Yeah. I seen something today. It was 2 people. They were stealing people's goats. So the people in Africa, they were hawking the goats. I seen that. Yeah, I was stupid, man. So the dude go run up there, take a leash off the goat, put it around his boy neck, and the guy walking the man, and they run off with the goat. So the guy realized that he walking the man, he run off. He's scared. He run. But people come up with clever ways, and people are greedy in it because sometimes we want what other people have. But the Almighty in our system, none of us will go hungry. None of us will go hungry. We all have enough, and we all satisfy each other. Go ahead. All right, go to 11.
Hallelujah. You should not steal. You should not deny falsely. You should not lie one man to his fellow.
Uh-huh.
You shall not swear falsely by my name, thereby desecrating the name of God. I am Hashem.
All right, so it says, do not steal, right? I hope we all understand that. And children, going in the cabinets in the refrigerator when your parents ain't in there, it's stealing. Ain't no excuse you can make. You know, you ever bust a child in the refrigerator and they try to explain to you what they doing in the refrigerator? I'm grabbing, I'm just tilted over in here and I'm fixing it. How did you know I tilted over? There's no excuse, right? But then it says, do not lie to one another. Honesty is everything. Honesty is everything. We must be honest with one another. And it says, do not swear falsely by the name, profane the name, I am the Lord our God. And the Most High say he will not hold them guiltless who take up a name. You make a vow to God that you swear you won't do this, you won't do that. You better uphold it. You better uphold it. There is no way around it. And even minor ones, anybody who's like, I swear to God, I'm gonna work out 4 days a week.
They give a number there.
Yeah. And your life may be messed up, but you never understood that because you wasn't working out 4 days a week. If the best thing is to not vow, unless it's a dire need. I remember one time I vowed something and I forgot I even vowed it. That is dangerous. And make sure if you vow, you got a support team with you. That they make sure you keep that vow. They make sure you keep that vow. You said no bread for 3 weeks. You like, this is flatbread. It's flatbread. No, we do. We look for loopholes in our own vows. Yeah. I used to find it all the time. I used to find loopholes in my. Don't play with the Creator. The Creator knows what you meant. Intentions is everything. Well, I intended. I didn't. No, just be careful. If you vow, bring 2 people with you, 2 witnesses, and share this together, and y'all go through this journey together. Because some people do need to vow. Because there's some things that they can't refrain from in life that they may need to vow. So if you vow, get some brothers around you, or get a wife and a mother, or a mother and a father, tell them what your vow is going to be, and help them support you with that. All right? Go ahead. All right, so go ahead.
You shall not cheat your fellow. You shall not rob. A worker's wage shall not remain with you overnight until the morning. You shall not curse to death. You shall not place a stumbling block before the blind. All
right, so now, if you work today, you get what? Paid today. Yeah. You work today, you get paid today. Somebody say you got to put a week in a hole and all of this, because they know that you're going to say, hey, I need a loan. Can I hold some money? And then you get the, what's the loans you get? What's it called? The pay now loans. Yeah. And you go there and they tax you and you more in debt. You just building up debt. Go ahead.
You should not commit a perversion of justice. You shall not favor the poor. You shall not honor the great. With riches shall you judge your fellow. With righteousness shall you judge your fellow. All right, so judgment has to be on a level ground. It can't be because somebody doesn't have a support team. It can't be because this person doesn't know that many people. It has to be just. The judgment has to be just and predicated and based on the information. Let's be like that with one another. We have to judge each other. And don't be like the Christians, nobody can judge me. Only God can judge me. Yeah, no, you need to judge me. You need judgment. Everybody needs judges around them. And everybody in here will be judged. It just happens as a natural thing. Sometimes we have step. So we have judgments. We have people that bring us around and bring us back because we do go astray sometimes. Go ahead. You shall not be a gospel among your people. You should not stand aside while your fellow blood is shed.
All right, so this is a 2-part law because also the other half is in Deuteronomy, but it's also in here. So it says, it correlates to 2 things. It says you should not be a gossiper or a slander. How many people in here gossip?
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Just raise your hand if you don't gossip. All right, so that's easy. That's easy. Everybody feel comfortable with that. Why? It's so dangerous. It's dangerous. Have you ever felt some way about somebody because somebody told you something until you talk to that person? We get it all the time, right? Doesn't it happen? And then even if you're being just, it happens. We have to be very, very cautious. And anybody that comes to you about something, you sit the people down, you bring the people together to talk about it and iron it out. Correct? Don't go back and forth. Don't do this, don't do that. We have to be together. We have to work together. And just little things where you say, hey, girl, I know girlfriend was this and that, she this and that. We have to, if anything we're talking about, make sure that something good is going to come from what we're talking about. Something that's going to hold together the nation. Gossiping don't mean you're lying. You could be telling the truth on gossip, but you just wasn't there to witness it. It could be absolutely right. So let's be very mindful of that. Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
And say, shed the innocent blood. You know why? Because you kill people when you gossip about them. Anybody had anybody slander them so much that it left them in a downward spiral, or they hurt so bad that they can barely function? Some of y'all may not have, but a lot of people have. You got to be careful. Words are very powerful. They spells. That's why I say when you spell a word, it's just a spell. You're putting a spell on the individual. You call people stupid, you call them dumb, they'll eventually what? Will start stupid and dumb. And they'll actually comfort themselves by thinking that. You know what? I am stupid. I am dumb. Yeah? Go ahead, next one.
Hallelujah. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall reprove your fellow. Do not bear a sin because of him.
All right, so it says you should not hate your brother in your heart. You should reprove your brother. Get it off your chest so you don't have hatred towards your brother. How many of us can actually do this law? How many of us can actually speak what we have to speak and walk away and say, you know what, I don't hate my brother? Or even make strides, because hating your brother in your heart is a sin. You have to make strides into getting over whatever it is. Brothers, sisters, come on, sisters, we got to do that too. We got to work on getting over these things, and I know it's not easy. It's not. But it's something. You have to realize that why would you love a person like this? What is beautiful about this person? What made you or put you in this situation? You have to think of all things and learn a lesson from your mistakes and learn a lesson from the things that surround you. God's law. So thought means everything and heart means everything. Because the heart judges your intentions of everything. Go ahead.
Hallelujah. You shall not take revenge. You shall not bear a grudge against the members of your people. You shall love your fellow as yourself. I am Hashem. You shall.
Now, it's a commandment. It's and you shall love your neighbor or your brother as yourself. That's a commandment. That's a commandment. So your neighbor, these are the people that are near you, surrounding you. There's a love and a loyalty that's there, that they're surrounding you. They live in your quarters. They're a part of your family. You have to have a certain love for them. You have to have a regard for their children. You have to have a regard for their items, the vessels, all the things that's theirs. Okay. All these laws are built off the impetus of us being together in a society, but is not only restricted to a society. So the best results of Torah is a society and a community. If not, it's faulty. It's a faulty system. It'll be a faulty system. These laws are based on us living together. You'll never experience true Torah unless we all come together collectively and say, hey, I want to get a community, and we all make it happen. You only need three people with decent credit to establish a community. I have all the research. They can get the community. They can get a whole community. The person just bought a block for $500,000 and it had 7 houses on it. 7 houses on it. They bought a whole community. These are nice houses. It's just the area that was in. It wasn't. People didn't like the area. They didn't like the area, not because it was bad, but because it wasn't properly planned and put in that location. Go ahead.
Hallelujah. You shall observe my decrees. You shall not make your animal into another species. You shall not plant your field with mixed seeds.
No ligers.
No ligers. Dang it.
and also no mixing fruit. Your tangelos and all of that stuff. Those are not. You're not supposed to be eating those things. There's a difference between natural hybrids and man-made hybrids. Natural hybrids you cannot stop, but man-made hybrids you have to stay away from. All right, team.
Hallelujah. And a garment that is a mixture of combined fibers shall not come upon you.
All right, we did a lesson on this last year, but if you have a garment that's mixed with wool and linen, it actually shuts down, it collapses your electromagnetic. So this is something that scientists just figured, they just figured the scriptures, the fatigueness is coming from. So this is another reason why a man should follow the laws of the Creator. Continue.
Hallelujah. A man lies commonly with a woman, and she's a slave woman who has been designated for another man, and who has not been redeemed or freed, has not been granted her. There shall be an investigation. It shall be put into death, for she has not been freed. And he shall bring his guilt offering to Hashem to the entrance of the tent of meetings, a ram guilt offering. The Kohen shall provide him atonement with the ram guilt offering for Hashem for a sin that he had committed, and the sin he had committed shall be forgiven.
All right, so this is a law where the woman is in this man, she's in this man's grasp or his house or whatever, she's doing a bond servant, but she's set aside for another person. If he sleeps with her, he has to bring a guilt offering, because it's almost a conflict of interest, because she's his, but she's somebody else's. So the Lord has mercy on certain stipulations because it understands kind of things happen. But not if a woman is betrothed and she's a free woman. That's automatic death. Go ahead.
Say that one more time.
No, if a woman's but if she's betrothed or engaged, okay, let's say you have a wife, a woman, a daughter, she's engaged or betrothed to somebody. If she sleeps with somebody else, that's a penalty, a death penalty, because it is as if they were married.
But she wasn't like she's not engaged like that.
Yeah. All right.
Hallelujah. When you shall come to the land, you shall plant any food tree. You shall treat it as fruit as forbidden. For 3 years it shall be forbidden to you. All
right, so for 3 years the fruit has to be forbidden to you, because this is going to be designated to the Almighty, and you sanctify. And scientists and farmers will tell you the best 3 years you have to build it up. All right.
And
all right, let's go 26.
You should not eat over the blood. You should not indulge in sorcery. You shall not believe in lucky times.
All right, so don't read your little horoscopes. They just pop up on my phone. I don't know where they come from, but today's a lucky day. Don't believe in all of that. Most High made you a God in His image. You determine what your day is going to be like. All right. Good.
Hallelujah. You shall not round off the edge of your scalp. You shall not destroy the edges of your beard. You shall not cut into your flesh for the dead. And a tattoo shall you not place upon yourself. I am Hashem. All right, so it's talking about rounding the corners of your head. So now we look at that. Most of ancient times, people like the ancient Egyptians, they used to mold their head, or a lot of people used to mold the head of a child when they're young. And also some people interpret it as taking off your sides. Like, don't come with just that little Ramses. You got the little ponytail on the side. People say that, but also the Lord goes into shaving the corners of your beard. Your beard was very important. You don't come with the genuine swerves. Like genuine. I remember that. No? Okay, I don't even remember genuine. Do you? All right. So these are things, but one of the things also, the tattoos and the carving of the flesh. Now, don't get how people get that, they Hebrews, and they get the name of the God on their back. Like, come on, that's totally contrary to the Bible. Don't get the Father forgive me hands. Tattoos have nothing to do with God. All right. If you have them, leave them. It's too late. You would have to actually almost make a tattoo to cover up a tattoo. I mean, like even that laser thing, that's the same thing as making a tattoo almost. Leave them. But if you have something that is not of God, or maybe a cross or something, or son of another deity, I will remove it. Hallelujah. Do not profane your daughter to make her a harlot, lest the land become lewd and the land become filled with depravity. All right, so
do not profane your daughter, make her a harlot. All right, so we know that there's no prostitution, but the literal aspect of profaning your daughter and she being a harlot, meaning she's passed around, right? Because or she's sleeping with people and she's not married. That's what if you read when Judah or the brothers seen their sister Dinah being slept with, they say you treating you make our sister as a harlot. You know what I mean? So in Israelite culture, a harlot is a woman that's just going around having sex, which is perfectly fine in this culture, right? Yeah, it's perfectly fine in this culture. I got friends with benefits. No, you gotta be careful. You ask a girl, you got a man, she say no. And she mean it. She got men. There's a difference. And none of them are claiming her she's free to do as she will. But it also is telling, this is also a prohibition to guard your daughter. Make sure your daughter's safe. You know what I'm saying? Make sure she ain't on the internet all late at night. Make her turn on her phone. Make sure she don't have access to certain things. Make sure that she respects and honors you. Be careful of your daughter, because once the women go, the whole society goes. Men drift. Men drift to wherever women have the power to make society whatever they want to. You seen the Spike Lee Chirac movie? If it actually happened, it would work. It just takes a lot of women on the same page. Imagine brothers not being able to have some conjugal rights if they don't act right. Everybody, what's your name? Brother named Pope. What up, Pope? Hey, what's up, Cardinal? Everybody be spiritually correct. Hey, Monk, we all be right. Because that's the power. You got to understand your power, daughters. And there's nothing to be out there in the world. Just because everybody around you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you have to predict and foresee calamity in their life. This is just a test. Don't go out there and test the waters. I gotta experience life myself. These things is what society told you so you can mess up your life. Let me tell you how corrupt this. You have what's that thing in school we used to have that class they teach you how to cook? Home economics. You have home economics. They teach you geometry. They teach you physics, chemistry, all this stuff. They never taught you a relationship class. Why school does not invest in 2 relationship classes for each child? Relationships 1 and relationships 2. Because that is the most important thing that you ever going to be in. And boys and girls, you think it's funny? I'm going to tell you, your first relationship is going to dictate how the rest of your relationships in life is going to be until you figure it out and you're able to curve it. My first relationship shattered my dream, shattered my life. I didn't trust women. I was looking through, back in the day, that's when people had cell phones. You look at the purse, you're looking for that little fold-up paper that somebody handed to somebody. It's emptying out purses. I was looking for everything. You're looking for something. You know it's going to hurt you, but you're still looking. You're digging like, I'm going to find this. I know it's in here somewhere. You think you see something that's something, but it ain't something. And your heart drops, but you get it back together because you know it ain't something. That's a messed up life. That's a messed up mind. Guard yourself. Don't jump into it. The more you wait, the better the outcome is. If a guy likes you, the longer you make him wait, the more value you have. It's the more value you have. It's like buying something from a store. If you want them Lonzo balls, $495. You have to go to work a whole week or maybe a week and 2 weeks to make this happen. But it's no different as you as a sister. If your value is so high, the more you make a man wait, the more he respects. And guess what? If you make him wait too long, a creep is going to drop off. A real man going to stay long. That's how you avoid the creeps. That's how you avoid the creeps. He be like, yeah, we ain't been alone in a year. Like, I like it like that. I like you, but I got to move on. I want the girl that's kissing everybody.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly what
they do. Somebody told me the other day they don't like virgins.
Oh, wow.
I don't want no virgin. I'm like, what? A virgin is powerful. You know why? Because her mind hasn't been corrupted yet. It hasn't been based upon what somebody else is. And sometimes you live in calamity. Listen, relationships is the biggest decision you're ever going to make in life. Use your mother and your father. The mother's she's going to be caring. She's going to be the one you can talk to. Your father's going to be the disciplinary. He's going to be the one that cuts it off real quick. You need that balance, because without the father, the mother be like, oh, you remember, baby, we was all children. Let her go. And he be like, yeah, you don't remember I got you pregnant like that? So it's going to have that balance. Listen to mother and father. Parents, don't be weird. What do I mean by don't be weird? Don't tell your child they can't like a boy or a girl. That's weird. Let them know that it's okay to like a boy or a girl. It's what you do with that boy or girl that determines inappropriate or not. You have to. You remember, because I remember when I was raised up, my father used to say, boy, you better not like no girl. Man, dang, I can't like her. I didn't understand it. And I was like, but then he told me don't be gay. So I'm looking at the giraffe, Animal Planet, looking at the cheetah. Which way do I go? But don't tell them that. Encourage them that there's proper ways. Even sex. Sex is not bad. It's not an off-limit topic to your child. Talk about it early. Let them understand. The things that become taboo are the biggest problem in communities. That's European. Because you're European, they'll teach your children about sexual education. They'll show you how everything works and this and that, but they don't tell you that, hey, it has to be done properly. Then you wonder why your daughter or your son come home and they say, Mom, I got a child on the way. Because they told them everything, how it works, how do you make it work, what do you do with it, and be safe if you do it. Yeah. They got condoms in the school office like a mint bowl. Yeah.
In the school.
Same sex. No, practice no sex. And let's be careful about putting ourselves in compromising positions, especially our young daughters and our young brothers. It's not worth your life. 20 years of child support is not a good thing.
24 years.
Yeah. 24 years. If they go to college, it's 24 years. I had a brother, he had one child, he paid $750 a month. Imagine that coming out your check. Because you just got happy for a little bit.
That's a whole check.
You got happy for a little bit. That's a whole good job check. Some people like, that's a check and a half. You know? Check and a half. Taxes. Are you adding this in or taking this in? Like, but that is dangerous. So you have to be careful. I'm telling y'all can be cool today, daughters, sons. Y'all can think it's cool, do what all your friends do, and then you're going to pay. You're going to pay. I told you about the little scenario the other day that we shared. People are very dangerous, and sexually transmitted diseases in Atlanta amongst young girls is at its highest. A girl from the age of 12 and 16 is basically that, but between the age of 12 and 16, more than 60% of your sisters will have some kind of STD. That's bad.
That's 16.
That's almost, I hate saying third world country because third world country is not really bad. They want us to make, they use the words third world country. Like, what's the second world?
Right.
Like, yeah, like they're not even the second world, they third world. But we have to understand that we need to stay away from that and be mindful. Young brothers, you don't need to be thinking about women right now anyway. Especially if you 17, 18, get yourself together. Get your stuff right. Get yourself set up, be established. You don't want to, a lot of us, we get our little credit cards and we buy the Lonzo balls and then we got to pay back and we looking silly and our credit bad. And then by the time we get a woman, we got to move in with her under her name. And then when she do wrong, we tell her, get out of my house. And she goes in the drawer and shows you that this is not your house. So get your stuff right, brother. Have your own. Live on your own a little while and know how it is to take care of yourself before you take care of somebody else. My father-in-law used to tell me that. I was like, no, but we in love, man. He's like, I want you to get yourself an apartment. I'm like, that don't make no sense. I want to get one with her. I was adamant. That don't make sense. We're in love, and this should happen like this, joint. Both of us together. But in truth, I should have learned how to take care of self before you even take care of somebody else. And this is something that we have to establish. Go ahead. We're gonna speak through it. We almost done.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I said, you woke? All right.
Do not turn to the ovos and Yid Onim. Do not seek to be contaminated through them. I am Hashem, your God.
All right, so the ovos is what you would call scrying. Anybody ever heard of scrying? All right, yeah, scrying is when you like look over a bowl of water to predict the future, or you look into a cloud to predict the future. And we spoke about this before. You remember anybody that was Thundercat fans?
Yeah.
And Mum used to look over that bowl of water to see what was going on. That's scrying. That's what a lot of people used to do, and they still practice that in Africa. That's some parts of Africa. Continue.
In the presence of an old person, you shall rise.
All right,
You
so
shall honor the presence of the sage.
all right, so when we see the elderly or when we see a teacher amongst us, we rise when they enter the room and we give them the respect and they honor. Now that's a good tradition, right? So children, when your parents come in the room, what do? Rise up. They come home from work. Well, if you're sitting down on the floor, you're like, hey, Mom, what's up? No, you get up, you give your little head bow and pay respect and honor to your parents. Let's bring back the biblical order and structure inside the family. So make sure they do it. If they don't get up, you go back outside the house and try it again. And then that second time, you just pull out that switch. Don't worry, we ain't got 501c3, so we can say stuff like that.
Hallelujah. You shall revere your God. I am Hashem. When a proselyte dwells among you in your land, do not taunt him. The proselyte who dwells with you shall be a native among you. You shall love him like yourself. For you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am Hashem, your God.
All right, so here goes a good principle, right? Now let's pick apart this whole principle. Man, it says the proselyte, you should not even taunt or insult. So you talking about hating the white man or hating people that don't look like you, that is not our practices. We are healers to the world. We love all people, right? It says the Lord for them is just like unto you. So don't try to cheat them or gyp them in any way because they're different. They look different. We do not operate that way. Teaching self-love is not teaching hatred. You don't have to hate others to love yourself, all right? And also it says why. It explains it. It says because you were once a stranger or alien in Egypt. So Mosai said because we dwelled amongst these people, we have to have a certain level of respect. So when people come into your house, they have to have a certain level of respect. And this is something that we carry on, that we're not supposed to insult one another because guess what? People helped us. Egyptians helped us, right? They helped us out. They turned on us. But these are things that we have to do. These is cultural lessons that we have to practice. Continue. All right, so let's go through it. So death of hanging over offspring, right? So now you got to think about when somebody's hanged, they're cursing to the Creator, and when you hang them, their body has to be removed by the next day. This is not like they did in slavery where they left the bodies hanging to torment the people, right? A person should be put to death for going into a medium or a witch. There's a punishment of death for cursing your parents. So the word is qualal. So cursing your parents, you can say, F that and this and that. Let's talk about that. But also qualal means to take light, to take your parents lightly. You say, do this. Oh, man. You can't give that to, ain't no way in the world that a child should be doing that. A child's supposed to stop whatever they're doing with a sense of zeal and excitement and help their mother and their father. And now this is what I was speaking about this week. I said, your parents give you everything. Your parents provide for you. They give you food. They give you clothing. They give you shelter. As a child, what do you give them back? Nothing. Obedience and honor. You have to pay back. You have to learn reciprocity at an early age. If you don't, it's going to be a life cycle that you're going to be forced to learn. All right? So you can't sleep. It also goes into becoming an adulteress. You know, we don't sleep with another man's wife. We don't we don't sleep with men. Definitely, we don't have to go into that because we talk about that all the time. It talks about, goes back into sleeping with the animals. We have to know. It also goes back to emulating the ways of the nation, keeping away from things that are impure. And the Most High says he puts a difference between the clean and the unclean, and the holy and the unholy. So remember that you are holy and in your separation. And may Most High bless all of you, you know what I'm saying? Because there is a lot of turmoil, there is a lot of trials and tribulations. And I thank God for all brothers and sisters through thick times, hard times, good times. We ask the Almighty, and we ask those who are insulted or offended or wronged by any of our actions for forgiveness. And we ask the Almighty to lift us up in spirit, to become one in unison. And we want to teach the laws of love. We want to teach the laws of peace. So as a Hebrew Israelite, take what you learned today and play it and utilize it in your day-to-day activities. Hallelujah. By Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Yahuwah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. May the Most High be with everybody. What time is it? All right. At 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. We're going to close out donations and obligations for the nation. Also, if you stay around an hour, 7 o'clock, 7 to 7:30, we do a little Hebrew class. So it'll be our third Hebrew class. So we ending out on our letters. It'll be a brief one today. We're going to get in and out of it. So we ask that everybody just greet each other. If you have donation obligations, see Sarah Asa. And may the Most High bless you all. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.